And I know too what the key thing for him was always was to get back to driving.
But how have you balanced your dual identities of therapist and care partner?
Um, in the beginning, it was definitely challenging. Like I said, standing and watching him struggle with something, knowing that he needed to really try to do it himself, but then knowing when to step in when he was getting frustrated, I think was challenging in the beginning. Now he's more independent, so it's not as much of an issue. I still manage all of his finances and I manage all of his appointments. He'll still come to me when the doctor's office calls and they start to go on and on too much about something that he knows he's not going to remember, or it's too much for him to try to communicate with me. He's like, hang on, hang on, hang on. And he hands me the phone. So, um, but I think that balance is important, to know when to be the caregiver and when to be the person that's kind of doing the pushing, to make somebody more independent. And I know too what the key thing for him was always was to get back to driving. And you say driving to rehab professional after a stroke, they cringe a little bit because they're like, don't know,
Yeah.
because there's so much that happens in the brain, with impulse control
Yeah. Attention,
and
attention spans. Yeah.
attention span and awareness of your surroundings and your vision, and so many things that go into being able to drive successfully, and the stroke can impair so many different things. But I knew that was his goal. He has a Mustang. It's a manual transmission and it's his
Oh,
right
wow.
arm that was impaired. So in the beginning it seemed like quite a steep hill to climb to get there, but I knew that was end his end goal. And what mattered the most to him was getting into his Mustang again. But he's driving his car again. And it was about 4 months after his stroke, he was back behind the wheel again. So that was me knowing what mattered the most to him and making sure that that got communicated, even though it was a scary idea. But yeah, knowing,
Well,
don't be
and
afraid to
that's
reach for the big